We know for a fact that you don't need to fly to Europe or America to have an amazing cycling holiday.
I have an inkling that there's some amazing cycling right here in the UK, and Garmin have challenged us to find it. Garmin. We're in the most unlikely cycling place in the country, London.
You just take a second to appreciate how cool the lighting is. It's like the Shard is shining, it's backlighting, it's movie lighting. Well good. London is the capital of England and has almost 9 million residents. The city is filled with culture, food, nightlife and bikes. Cycling in London is at an all-time high and the people here ride an average of 4 million kilometres a day. At peak times, cyclists even outnumber cars.
London has a really bad rep for cycling, however, we think otherwise. Thanks to the infrastructure and cars being quite accustomed to lots of bikes being around, if you're sensible, it's actually really safe. For most cyclists in London, it's actually just a mode of transport rather than a hobby. There's a massive cycling community in London, and we're going to show some of the places that those cyclists hang out. Ride early morning laps at Regents Park, right in the centre of London. It's an absolute staple for locals. I used to live in London, and I used to spend a lot of time at Regents Parks doing laps around the outer 4.5 kilometre loop. We'd spin around for an hour, we'd go for a coffee, we'd go off to work. It was literally the best start to the day you could possibly imagine. Regents Park is obviously going nowhere. So, if you're in London, come down, crack some laps out nice and early, go for a coffee, sets the day up perfectly for the rest of your exploring.
Other things to note about Regents Park, it's completely closed to cars until 7 AM in the morning if you're an early riser, and there's a 1 kilometre loop in the centre of the park known as the Inner Circle. That's usually a lot less busy, you get some tourists during the day, but it's a really, really smooth road surface and a lot of people do efforts around there if that's your thing. I once rode 500 laps of it in a go. I wouldn't recommend that.
The last thing is, there is a coffee shop right in the centre of the Inner Circle. However, there are better ones, like Caffeine 66 Great Titchfield Street, number 66. The infrastructure in London has significantly improved, so there's loads of ways of getting around on bike, and it makes it very easy to get between all of the tourist attractions like Trafalgar Square, the National Gallery, Big Ben, the Houses of Parliament, St James's Park, the last corner of the London Marathon, Buckingham Palace, the Arc de Triomphe and Hyde Park. It is amazing how close everything is together. It's like a couple of miles on a bike to see everything.
Should probably point out, the infrastructure has improved even since we left a couple of years ago. So I'm impressed.
It's good.
It's good. It's very good. It's very safe.
Very good.
A lot of segregated cycle lanes. So you're not even in the mix with the cars.
Go to Brick Lane for a bagel.
Yes, yes.
There's two bagel shops on the north end of Brick Lane, one which was originally founded in 1855, the other one in the 70s. For whatever reason, the newer one is actually the most popular, but they're both really good. Get yourself to Brick Lane, get a bit. Love it down you go. Get to Brick Lane, get yourself a bagel, you're not going to regret it. It's open 24/7, 365 days a year, that's including Christmas Day.
Solby Bagel is the one everyone comes for. There are veggie and vegan options as well. They do a hummus one, and Jimmy says make sure you get a cheesecake too. Visit Richmond Park. This is a 2,500 acre massive park just on the edge of London. It would take about 35-40 minutes to ride to from Central, and it's one of the most popular cycling destinations for people that live here. It's about a 7-mile loop around. There's sections of road which are completely closed to cars. There are deer, there are cafes, you can park your car here if you need to, and there's also a bonus gravel track around the whole outside, which is a little bit longer than the road, obviously, because it's further out, which is well worth seeing as well. A bit like we said in Regents Park, the cafes in the park aren't the best. They're not bad, but there's definitely some better options. You can go to Putney, there's Dynamo, which is a cycling specific cafe. You can go to Kingston Cycle Exchange, which is a bike shop. They sell second-hand bikes, but they have an amazing cafe there as well. The coffees in those places, much better than the coffee in the park. No offence, Royal Parks, but could be better.
And that leads us on to the feature climb in this instalment. Broomfield Climb in Richmond Park. 1.1 kilometres long, with a whopping 39 metres of elevation, making it an average of 3.8%. Definitely the most underwhelming climb in our entire series. It does have a maximum gradient of 12% though, so there is a little kick in there, so it might catch you off guard if you weren't expecting it, or at least if you were thinking it was a massive anticlimax. There is definitely a kick in there. We were at the top of it, and there was definitely someone on their way home, probably from work, with a big backpack that was maybe thinking he chose the wrong way home. It's definitely the steepest one in Richmond Park. So check it out if you are local.
come and visit the Olympic Velo Park. For a small fee, you can go riding on the 1 mile closed circuit. This is used for racing, TTs, and just regular riding if you want to have a go somewhere where there's no cars at all. Inside the facility, you can rent bikes and equipment, and the tarmac is absolutely perfect. If you want an even smoother surface, you can go indoors and ride the velodrome. They do taster sessions, and you can get your track accreditation here. It's really cool because it's the actual Olympic velodrome, used in the Olympics. Obviously. There's also BMX and some mountain bike trails as well. You can do this on a gravel bike though. None of it's too technical. I think there's only one bit which is a bit knobbly bobbly. Absolutely fine on a gravel bike. There's a couple of different levels, and again, you got to pay a small fee to do it.
If you do come out to Stratford, you've got Westfield, which is a massive shopping centre, loads of food and shops to do all the things you want to do. Alternatively, you can come into Hackney Wick, which is a short walk from the Velo Park, where there's loads of coffee shops, loads of bars, restaurants, food. It's hipster's paradise.
Rent a bike. There's loads of options. Santander bike, or as we call them, Boris bikes, Lime bikes, e-scooters. Okay, technically not a bike, but what I'm getting at is there is loads of choice of different two-wheeled vehicles that you can ride around London, and they're really easy to rent. Some of them are app-based. These ones here, you don't need an app for. It has an app, but you can just pay with a normal contactless card. They are all reasonably priced, especially compared to the ones that I rented in New York City, which were really expensive. So get a rental bike, see the city in a very unique way. And when you get to your destination and you want to get rid of the bike, you just dock it. They're not the fastest bikes in the world, but they're fun. And that's the main thing. Sit on a curb and eat some pizza. There are tons of options. You got Detroit style pizza. You could go to Home Slice for a pizza that is impossible to finish on your own. You could go to Pizza Pilgrims, which is Emily's favourite pizza, Italian style. You could go to Voodoo Ray's, Jimmy's favourite pizza. Santa Maria, award-winning, best pizza in England, I'm pretty sure, run by our friend Pascal, who is a cyclist. And one of his pizza shops is inside a car garage owned by the Duke of London, full of old classic cars if that's what you're into. Tons and tons of options. You need to fuel your rides. So pizza, perfect thing.
That is the last in the series of Cade Media travelling around the UK to really cool places where you can ride your bike. Let us know in the comments below places we missed in London. Subscribe, comment, press the bell. I need some sleep. It's been a busy 5 days.